And welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. Today, guys, we're going to be jumping down into the world of XRP, taking a look at the price action, what's been going on recently, what we expect to happen next, and all that wonderful stuff. As I get into this video, if you find it useful and informative, hit the like button. I do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe? Tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with all the videos that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Now, if you have not yet joined us in Discord, the link is in the description down below. It's a fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. It's completely free, and I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there. And of course, if you're looking for more from the crypto space, why not check out the Patreon services as well? Link in the description below. We cover everything from project reviews, trading, AMAs with our members twice weekly, and a whole host of additional other benefits. So why not check those out if they're of interest to you? Okay, let's jump on into this, right? XRP paired up with USDT on the hourly chart. Binance is our data source. And following on from the last XRP video that we did, we're talking about a potential ending diagonal structure within our final fifth wave up. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just kind of zoom out of this for a second. You can kind of see that we have here basically these 5 waves going up here, okay? Now, the fifth wave expectations are a little bit harder to kind of determine under a potential ending diagonal structure. So we should kind of come up to at least 55.9. But, it's hard to say exactly where that's going to end. It's more the internal structures that are more important at this point. Okay, we can also see we've got this dashed line down the middle here. Before we had, before this dashed line on the 6th of September 2022, we actually have 3 waves up, 3 waves down, and obviously we've got the 5 waves up here. For anyone who understands Elliott wave theory, that would be 3 up, 3 down, 5 up, and that is a 3-3-5 corrective structure that would otherwise be known as A, B, and C. Okay, so obviously knowing this, we know it's corrective short term. However, it's entirely up to you as to whether or not you want to ignore these 3 waves and these 3 waves, okay? That's why I put this dashed line here to say that if you want to just look at it from a bullish standpoint, look at everything on the right. And if you want to actually consider everything that's going on here, then take a look at everything on the left of this dashed line, okay? And for me personally, I'm taking the look at this as if it's a 3-3-5. And I'll leave it up to you guys as to whether or not you want to ignore those and just focus on that fantastic run up to the upside and be super bullish about it. It's up to you. I'm going to just tell you the data as I see it, which to me, it looks like 3-3-5. Corrective short-term move up and then a pull to the downside, and so therefore coming down lower is still possible to me. Okay, but I'll leave it up to you as to however you want to feel about it. Essentially, this structure to the upside, though, is coming towards an end, with this fifth wave being an ending diagonal. Okay, the ending diagonal is made up of 5 waves, okay, very much like a standard impulsive structure. However, it will basically be into this kind of ascending triangular wedge shape pattern, and essentially those 5 waves will be made up of 3 waves each, okay? So you have 3 up, 3 down, 3 up, 3 down, 3 up, done, and then normally from here we'll end up with a big collapse in price. Okay, that's kind of how these ending structures would normally look. Okay, so just bear that in mind. That's what I think is going on here. It's incredibly volatile. It's the only one that makes sense within the current structure in my mind, and that basically we are tracking 5 waves up, and at the end we have these ending diagonal structures. You can Google this if you want to know a little bit more about ending diagonals, or join us in our Discord server, and we've got documentation to help you understand the Elliott wave theory stuff. So what we can do is we can go ahead and remove that fib. Basically, that was giving us our expectations on our C wave, which we put up here, which would have been our wave 3. Okay, so if I start to remove some of these sub-wave counts, just tidying this chart up a little bit, we can then start to see, what's going on, right? We have these kind of, oh, that's the wrong one. Let me put that one back, grab this one. We have 5 waves going up here, right? And we basically go 3 up here, and we come down with 3 this side. Now, it's possible that this little area just here is the 3rd wave complete for here, right? That's possible that basically it's A, B, then C here. Or it's possible that actually we've still got to come up higher. We were expecting this to come up towards 55 cent to kind of mark off this kind of wave 3 before we pull down a little bit more. Now, we're not following good structure as in what you would normally expect with a 5-wave structure, right? Under a normal 5-wave impulsive structure, wave 4 does not cross wave 1. But in an ending diagonal, that is actually one of the things you do look for. Wave 4 normally does cross and should cross wave 1 in the ending diagonal structure, okay? Now, with this, one of the key takeaways out of the ending diagonal is actually wave 3. Wave 3, simply put, cannot be the shortest wave, okay? So wave 4 can cross wave 1, that's not a problem, but wave 3 cannot be the shortest. Okay, so basically what we look for here is wave 1 being of pretty decent size. Wave 2 being decent. Wave 3, doesn't really go to 1.618 or anything that you would normally expect. Wave 4 comes and crosses wave 1, and then wave 5, again, just a really small wave, a 3-wave structure just finishes it off. So for the most part, we're following this pretty nicely in terms of my expectations of an ending diagonal. So there's nothing unusual kind of going on with that, right? And we can kind of see ourselves kind of coiling up quite nicely in here. If that is the top of our C wave, of course, it might not be. And we can see this kind of moving up here. This is pretty much standard stuff when it comes to ending diagonals. And, the minimum expectation would be to come up to this area here at 55.9, because that is the wave 3 high point. Minimum expectations would be at least to go up to this point, or even just a fraction higher, as you can see with my wave 5 I just briefly drew on here to help us understand where that's going. Okay, so seeing how this is kind of forming out, it's important that we then kind of think about, okay, well, what else is going on in here to kind of help us find the resistance and find the support levels, right? So let's go ahead and draw this back down a little bit. So we've got the dashed line at 50.9. We obviously know that this is an area where we have got some previous kind of levels of resistance. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a little yellow box and I'm going to draw this on. I think this is actually a really good spot. Somewhere around here actually seems to make the most amount of sense to me. And I think what I will do, I don't want to make it too big. I'm going to put it on the high wick just here, okay, and I'm going to pull it this way. Okay, so this is basically our support level, okay, and basically we can see that we wick into this area over this side on the left, okay, we get rejected. We come here, we get rejected. We come all around here and we get rejected until we push through. So think of this as an area where all of the sellers were lining up, okay. Now down here the buyers were. The buyers took it all the way through that selling pressure. They turned it into now a buying zone, okay? So basically what was resistance now has become support over here. Okay, so this is a key area for us to understand kind of what was going on. Now, if we do come back down here, then the next kind of key area is going to be down here towards 48 cent. If we do lose this area of around, what is this? This is currently looking approximately 50 cent, actually. Yeah, it's pretty much 50 cents. So it's that theoretical 50 cent level. Okay, so if we do drop that and we do go lower, do expect 48 as the next kind of major level of buying pressure to appear. And with that being said, we can see here we're turning this into a good area of demand, so a good area of support at the moment. And we're looking to move on up. So this is why I think that maybe we haven't necessarily finished that little C wave move, and we could still push up a little bit higher here towards our 55 cent level, okay, and we can still do that. It's also possible that we just break down a fraction more. We finish wave 4. Now again, wave 4 theoretically I do think rounds is that 48 cent range, could be an interesting one for us. Now the same is being said for this upper area. We clearly have an area of resistance up here, okay, another area of supply coming in, really kind of suppressing the price of XRP. And let me just find this approximately. I'm going to draw a small slither because I don't think it's overly that big. I do think it's right there though. This isn't a huge one by any stretch of the imagination, so I do think we'll chew through it pretty quickly if we needed to. So as you can kind of see up here, we kind of got into this area and got rejected quite a bit. We could argue we could push it a little bit higher, but I was looking at this as a good area of support and then kind of resisting here. But if I were to go ahead and push it a little bit higher, it doesn't really make too much sense this side, but again, you can kind of see these wicks in here. So maybe I'll leave it at that size, coming in here around that 52.59 to 53.39. And so that's going to be an interesting zone, but I don't think that's going to be overly too difficult to push through because it is really quite small at this point in time. So we'll see how that kind of goes over time, right? See if we can just test it. And if we get rejected from here, then do expect to push back down and we continue our move down into maybe this fourth wave, and maybe C is done up here, right? This wave 3 is done at this point. So we'll keep a close eye on that. Both are technically possible, but don't be too surprised if you get yourself rejected from this level up here, okay, and then push down lower than our support level and just move down towards 48 cent. That would actually complete ourselves quite nicely within our little fourth wave before moving up into that final fifth wave and completing the entire structure out. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw the order blocks on, and we're going to see some order blocks just up here. So again, we know there's selling pressure here, but the buying pressure pressure is quite low, right? So people aren't willing to buy up here. So again, just keep in mind that actually I do think we're going to push up quite high. We're going to take advantage of the liquidity specifically right here and push on through. This is really small liquidity order block. Let me go to the 4 hour. There's more right up here. So here you can see at 55.9, this is where the main selling pressure is. This is why I think that this is where our wave 3 ends. And I don't necessarily think that we finished our ABC structure inside our wave 3. So I do think we're actually going to be doing something more like this, and we complete up here, then we pull down towards kind of the 48-cent range. It's going to be something like that, I think, is the most likely in my opinion. Now, if I come to the daily and we start to look at where things are, we actually haven't got a lot of selling pressure really at the daily level that is close to the price action. Same with the buying pressure, that's all the way down here at 26 cents. So people aren't willing to buy at these prices. And one of the things that's really good to take away here is that basically the sellers are trying to lower their sell orders to try to capture the price action, right? Whereas the buyers are saying, actually, this is probably going to break down a lot further, so we're going to lower our buy orders, right? So you're seeing that there's a lowering of the sell orders, but there's also a lowering of the buy orders over time here, right? So this is really interesting. Now, if I come back to our hourly, get rid of the order blocks and throw in the liquidity, then we can start to see where people are going to get liquidated, right? And we can see right up here at 55.9, that's some juicy liquidity up there. So I do think that's an area that we're going to be targeting. Whereas a lot of this stuff is actually spread out, all these kind of long positions that could be short, could be liquidated. I think we'll come back at a later stage. There's actually technically looking like there's more to the downside to grab than the upside, but I do think that they're going to wick up here quickly, grab this, then crash down, take hold of as much of that as possible, then go back up again and take out even more before bringing in a much bigger crash. You can see right now the price is moving up quite nicely. It's kind of getting a good support level here and is moving. If we bring the stochastic RSI, we've got plenty of room to growth on the hourly chart. We've got plenty of movement still to the downside on the 4 hour. The 8 hour needs to come down, and the daily has progressed up quite a bit. So there's still room to finish all of these structures off. There's nothing to think that we can't. So all is actually looking pretty good for XRP, but I would be looking to kind of finish off this 55.9. This seems like a good place to maybe think about a short. And then once we kind of come back down into our area of support and demand, we then go long a little bit and so forth. I do think it's an ending diagonal, which is why we've been caught out so many times expecting, impulsive based structures. In fact, that's all broken down because we just haven't seen it. So instead, what we're actually doing here is an ending diagonal structure. Once we finish this wave 5, we should then start thinking about bigger moves to the downside, where some of those juicy buy orders are at 26 cents. Guys, I'm going to leave this video right there. If you have found this useful and informative, hit the like button. I do appreciate that. And if you happen to be new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and stay up to date with all the videos that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. And don't forget, join us in Discord. We cover a lot more down in the Discord server than we do here on the YouTube channel or the Twitch channel. So well worth checking it out. Guys, come and join me on Twitch later this morning, and where we talk Bitcoin and Ethereum. Until then, have a fantastic day.